Hello, this is the professor from Day Trading for Success. Welcome. I am also known as the Day Trading Quarterback. If you are here, I am assuming that you are a pattern day trader. You have made the PDT rule, you have a funded account, you have made margin, and you're ready to rock and roll. And maybe you already have been, and you're just switching to ThinkorSwim. So I trade exclusively on ThinkorSwim on the YouTube channel, Day Trading for Success. I also am a guest trader on other channels, and that's where I will call the trade for many professional traders that are trading live. You can see me trade live every morning. Just set your alerts on Day Trading for Success or whatever channel I'm promoting that I'm on that morning, and you'll be able to trade along with me. I usually start somewhere around 9:30 a.m. on the East Coast of the United States and the New York Stock Exchange, somewhere between 9:30 and 10, and we're trading a specific strategy, usually of consolidating stocks, not momentum like you might see other traders do, but a more conservative way to add to your income and to make a living, which is our entire focus. So I hope to see you there. We're about to get into now how to build your own layout. I'm going to give you a layout for free at the end of this video, and there'll be a lot of other things I'm going to cover, so you might want to stick around. And thanks for being here, and congratulations for being a pattern day trader. You're on your way to a better lifestyle, I think.
Welcome to Day Trading for Success. Every morning, join the professor, a former math teacher turned pro trader, and watch him trade live for free, sharing proven strategies, breakthrough indicators, and lessons from essential trading books. The professor is not a licensed financial advisor. Consult a licensed financial advisor before following any demonstrations you see here. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss a live session.
So welcome back. Usually when you open up I'm not going to go into how you set up an account. I'm going to assume you have an account. I have other videos for that if you look back, but I'm going to just start from scratch. When you have your ThinkorSwim open, you're going to get a layout that looks something like this. Mine's on a dark setting. Yours might be light colored. I have set mine to show dark on the screen because that's the way I like it. So before we get into building a layout, this is something like what you should see, although it might be light, like I said. We're going to close this little tab over here. We'll get into some of that later so we have a bigger screen. Now, I want to direct you to the top of this across here that a lot of people just don't look at right away. This is so important, right, is your education center. So you're going to want to check out all the different things that I'm certainly not going to cover, all kinds of demos and things on ThinkorSwim. And you have ways that you can click along here, insights here, and trading here. And just different, you just want to peruse all these, watch their videos, learn. You can never learn too much, right? So you want to make sure that you really check out those tools. And this is your helpline up here. If you want to call for help, they're very helpful 24/7. You're going to get somebody and answer any of your questions. If it comes up that you're in a trade, you can get them on the phone. The best thing to do, though, if there's been an error, I'll just let you know now in case it comes up, there's an error, and don't try to get on the phone. Get out of the trade and then show them the error and talk to them about it. And 9 times out of 10, they will fix the problem. I'm assuming it's a platform problem, not just that I didn't mean to go in that trade. Oops, can you refund my money? That won't work. But that aside, it should be, they should help you with it, because there's sometimes you do get platform glitches. So anyway, so here we are with the platform. Now let's get into how I would build a layout. So the first thing I would do is I would go into charts here. Now I have mine set up over here for flexible grid. It might just be like that for you, and then a chart would come up. You're going to see a lot of support and resistance lines that are from me trading live on this platform. So when we come to those, I'll just delete them, but that's why they're there. But you might see, you're going to get a standard candlestick pattern layout on default with a standard volume below it, and then how you can change all your things over here. Now, this is not going to be a video that explains what all these mean. It's going to be a video on how to build, and you might end up learning what they mean by default, but I'm going to assume you know what a chart is. I'm going to assume you know what a candlestick is. There's some things I'm just going to assume. But for the most part, this is for beginners that are learning to build their own layout and want to set up, be able to use the tools to operate their layout effectively. And I'm going to show you how I build a layout and how many I trade in a studio with a lot of professional traders. And the way that I use a layout on a flexible grid, every single trader does. Now, they have different ways they like to set up their grid, which we'll get to in just a second about the grid. But I'm going to show you the way that every day trader I know, the tools that they use. And again, there'll be some personalization that I might have, and you're going to learn your own personalization. But generally, you're going to, after you watch this video, you're going to be able to know how to set up a layout. You're going to get this layout, and then you're going to learn a lot about things you might not have even known just by default. So let's start with the flexible grid. This is how I start, okay? So it'll open up something like this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this one. So these three boxes let you add something below, okay? Or add something to the right over here, okay? Or you just delete there, right? Now, each of these have their sidebar open once we start to set this for a code for each color. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up so we link. So I'm going to pick the color green, and I'm just going to link all of these. Now, it's putting a default, and I can see that once again, it's got a stock that I have marked out to trade. So that's Fibonacci levels and things. So you don't need to understand any of that yet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start the whole layout. I'm going to begin with just these three columns across, but I know what I'm about to add. So I'm going to add a few things. And we're going to keep this simple for your first starting to day trade, right? So you need charts. You got to have charts. You want to see what the stocks are doing. Most likely you're using candlesticks. That's what I'm going to show to track the stocks. Okay, so that's how you're going to see me build this. But then you're going to need to have tools to take a trade, and you're going to need to have tools to watch the actual price action moving besides just the charts themselves. Okay, so for instance, this is the volume that would be showing you each candlestick's volume down here, right? And then the price would be over here. So you're kind of lining those up. It's going to be easier once I set these up so you can see. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to add a chart below this because I know I'm going to need a chart down here. So I've made two charts, and we're going to get into making those charts look a little bit more understandable in a minute. Then over here, I have to completely change what I'm going to do because in the middle is where I want to push the buttons and take the trade. So I can't do that on a chart. Well, you can do it on a chart, but we're not going to do it on a chart. So we're going to get the active trader up here. Okay, and then I'm going to get rid of the chart. So now I've got buttons up here. This is what they call the ladder. So we're going to disregard that for the moment. Now I'm going to add something below this. So we have another box. We'll make it green. It'll open up as this because this is what I copied it from. Now, if you don't see your things light up on the sidebar, just slide it up far enough where they can appear. I'm going to make this a level 2, and I'm going to get rid of the active trader. So we'll go into what these mean a little bit. I'm not going to go real deep, just so you're not completely lost as to what we're doing in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that sidebar and that sidebar so I don't forget. Okay, and then I'm going to add one more chart down here. So right now it's going to come up as a level 2 because that's what I copied it from. But I'm going to make that a chart and then get rid of the level 2. So now that's another chart. So you can just grab these and slide them down. So I'm left clicking where you see the two arrows and I'm dragging down, right? And then I can drag that up and kind of close that ladder. And you kind of have the beginning of a bit of a layout over here. Now here's the next chart that I use. Now each one of these charts I'm going to set up at different time increments. You see the time increments are up here. This is set at a day, 1 year a day. I'm actually going to make this a 5-minute chart, okay, that goes back 5 days. So we can even do that, change the number of days over here and keep it a 5-minute chart. I'm going to make it go back 10 days. And you'll see that when I trade live, almost always I have a 5-minute chart that can go back 10 days right here on my right side of my screen. So since I know this is what I'm going to use, I'm going to get rid of that sidebar. Now I do want another chart under here, and we're not going to get too crowded with charts, but I'll put one more chart. Okay, so this is also going to be a 5-minute chart. You might wonder why I do that, and the reason why is because this one I don't want to be set for 10 days. This one I only want to be set for 2 days. And as you get more involved in day trading, you'll understand the logic of that. And it's a lot of it's just for speed to set up things quickly. Like you got to have it only go back so far so you can quickly see the historical data that you're looking at, which are patterns for a shorter period of time. So, and then you want to see for a longer period of time, very quickly. You want to be able to go back longer. So 10 days and 2 days is what I typically use here, and a lot of day traders use. You may decide you want a 30-minute chart or a 4-hour chart. And of course, we use those as also. But what I'll be showing you mostly here for day trading today, and what this layout's going to be mostly designed for, is to take very fast trades that are taking trades from, 10 seconds to 10 minutes, not all day long or many days or many weeks or many months. Those are all different setups that you'd want to do, different layouts. But the beauty of what's going on here is when I show you how to build all these tools here, then you can do anything you want. You can change those chart times and do whatever you want to do. But this is the beginning, the bones, and it could be overwhelming you already but really, let's just talk about what we have here. We have 2 charts here, another chart here, 2 charts here. This is where I take trades. They call it the active trader. And this is where you watch trades. I say watch because this will roll as the stock market opens. These prices will roll. And just briefly to explain to you what that is, this is the bid and this is the ask, right? So if you picture that we're in an auction, that stocks are being auctioned off to each other, this person's willing to bid this price, but this person wants this price. So there's a difference of 3 cents here. Okay, so they're like, no, you need to pay this. And he's like, no, this is all I'm willing to pay, right? So that's how it works. Now, if you were to let the stock market decide, like the people on your platform decide, they're going to give you a market maker price, which is usually right up here. Now, since the market's closed, this is not correct because it's actually lower than the bid. It's usually right in between. I don't want to confuse you, but it's usually right in between. 90% of traders use the market maker or market, buy and sell market, and they don't mess around with the ask and bid. But as you get into trading, as you become more professional, you will absolutely use the ask and the bid because you want to only pay what you want to pay for. You want to only buy or sell the price that you want it for. So you might only use these. It just depends. There's so many nuances there to talk about that I'm not going to go into. I have tons of videos, over 400 videos that talks about that. And you see me do it. You see me put them into play in live trading. So you might want to catch out if you go check out all the live trading. So if you're just looking at the videos on my channels under videos, you might not see the live trading. There's a little button along the top that says live. Go to that and you're going to see, each live trading video is usually like an hour and a half, the length of time that I trade in the morning. You'll see me set up, find the stocks with the scanners, set up those stocks to be traded with support and resistance and historical data, and then you'll see me trade them. And that's a really good way to learn is the live trading archives. I do have a lot of live trading that are on the videos themselves that you're watching right now, so you can just look around where they say, made 10,000 in 30 minutes. Click on those videos. You'll see a lot of live trading with live commentary as I'm trading, as I trade with, like I said, large group of traders, and I quarterback for them. So you're seeing me point out what I see before I take the trade, when I think you should go in, when I think you should go out, and why. I explain why. What am I seeing? So I literally am teaching the people that trade along with me, at least my method of calling the future. I see the future of what's about to happen based on data. I am never 100% accurate. I run at about 90% accurate though, which is pretty darn good. It's very rare to be that accurate. But if you can make money at 51% accurate, right? You can actually make money far less accurate than that, as long as you keep your losses less than your gains. So again, that's a deep dive into a lot of strategy. But I'm just pointing out to you, I started to point out to you about the ask and the bid, and I went off there, which I will do. I'll go off on a tangent. But let's get back to building this so it's not a 4-hour video. But that's what the level 2 does. And usually if you're just a normal trader or you trade on your phone, you just see these 2 top numbers, which is level 1. Level 2 will be an endless look of numbers that are waiting in the pike to get their price, to sell for their price or to buy for their price. And then over here is the number of shares, and you on ThinkorSwim you multiply this by 100. Now this looks differently than you might see on yours because I have this set up in a different way. And let me show you. This is the easiest way I find to read this on ThinkorSwim. Let me show you what that is. So if you click up here and you go to application settings, this screen will pop up. I did it ahead of time because what happens is it shows my accounts no matter what I do. But anyway, you go down to look and feel. I drag this in. I have 6 screens around me here and a whole bunch over there and a whole bunch over there and all kinds of trading stations all around me. It's a weekend right now, but just so you wonder what's going on. So you go into look and feel and you change this to old school. Okay, so there's all these different ways to make it look. And the old school, TOSO, that's ThinkorSwim. The old school it makes it dark, but it also makes the level 2 look the best that I think it can look. So that's how you get that. And I get asked that question a lot, okay? So while we're covering things that I may forget, right here in the active trader, some of the things that you're going to want to do. This opens up the bar below this active trader here, opens this up and you see things here. So you're going to want to make sure that you have auto send on for your trades. And that way you won't have a band open up across the screen asking for you to confirm your trades. When you're a day trader, when you're a scalper, you want everything to go very, very fast. So now I have a lot of videos that say, don't get into trading, and start trading with real money, live money, until you've traded in a simulator first. So on your first opening screen, when you open up the tab, and a little box will come up on your screen to go into ThinkorSwim, there's a little toggle down below that lets you go to simulator trading or to live trading. So you should check that out. Also, you have an on-demand thing here that but your on-demand application that will open up and you can pick dates and times that you want to trade. And that's usually used to basically go back and verify trades and look at how the history of how things have been. So you can try to find patterns and things. Back testing. That's the word I was looking for. As you can see, I'm not editing too much, but that's usually used for back testing. So you might want to go back and see what happened with that stock. Why did it move the way it did? So it's a great feature on demand. Any stock, any date, any time, go back and see what's going on in it. It's not really live trading though, so you don't want to use that because it won't be your current day of the market, okay? But the simulator, the paper trading, does have that, and it's just got a slight delay. So it's always good to trade that way first for at least 30 days and make sure that you are green and you're making money before you try to trade with real money. Remember, guys, I am not a licensed financial advisor, and you should seek the advice of someone licensed before you try to attempt anything that I'm showing you here, anything that emulate anything that I'm doing. I believe you can become a successful day trader if you apply it. And I personalize that because I believe anybody can become a successful day trader if you apply yourself to the knowledge and you take your time and you follow the right steps and you follow your rules. 95% of the people that trade don't do that, and that's why they fail. So you might be that 5%. I'm going to assume that you are, and that 5% is getting more and more every year, that there's more and more people that can handle this. But it's all in your head, being able to get value rules and have a maximum loss per trade. This is probably a good time to show you what a typical, I don't know why that's not opening here, but let me see about this. Well, I just tried to open my day trading rules like 4 times. I don't know what's going wrong, but let me just go over the basic rules with you that I pretty much know by heart. And that's why you should trade in a simulator first for at least 30 days and make sure you're a successful trader. You should set a maximum loss per trade. You should set a maximum loss per day. You should always get out when you hit your maximum loss per trade, and just no exceptions, right? And then you should log your trades. The most important thing is log your trades. If you can even record your trades and do both, it's even better. But when I mean log, I mean like, why did you take that trade? Write it down. How did it come out? What were you thinking? Were you afraid? Were your hands shaking? The other rule is, if you are nervous when you're taking a trade, then and your hands start shaking. I mean, you're okay to be a little nervous, right? But if you're so nervous that it's incapacitating your decision making, it's interfering with the logic of being able to make money, being able to follow your own rules, your share size is too high. That's like right up there with one of the number one rules. When you get done with the sim makes people nervous, right? Because you want to treat it like it's real money, right? You want to get there. But when you get into live trading, go down to 1 share. Say, I'm willing to lose $1 today, and I'm going to just let my freak flag fly and go crazy, till you get so used to trading that it's not a big deal. But following your rules is so important. And if you're normal, if it takes a long time to get good at it, years to get good at it. So you don't want to lose the family farm while you're learning. But anyway, so I wanted to make sure that I showed you this is going to let the trades go through immediately. Don't be afraid by that. Just keep your share size low. And remember, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. So now, while we're on the active trader, let's go ahead and set this up the way I want to set this up, okay, for me. So right now, the quantity and buttons, I'm going to drag this up to move up here. So you can left click and drag, or you can move over and add items, right? So I'm just going to get rid of some of these. This is an advanced way to trade that you'll see me trade with the reverse button. We're not going to go into that right now. You shouldn't be doing that. Flatten's always good to have. And then we will talk about putting some of these over by the ask. I'll add this in the old-fashioned way, and then I'll drag it up. Okay, actually, we don't want to do that. We want to sell the ask. We want to buy the bid. So we'll add that here, buy the bid. And then down here, I'm scrolling down, is sell the ask. I'll add it this way again. If you don't see it, it's off the window a little bit. So I scroll down, right? And there's all kinds of ways to set your orders. And we're not going to go into that right here. And that's why I recommend that you watch some of those videos. But we do have the auto send already over here, which you saw me click, right? But we don't need that template there. And I put the buttons now above this, so we're going to see them. So the only thing I don't have on here that I always have is the cancel all button. So often I will have an order pending or waiting, and I want to cancel it. So I usually put that in between the ask and the bid in the market. And you get something that might look like that, depending on what you like. That's going to buy order, sell order. If you've got a bid or an ask and they're not being picked up yet on this level 2, that the price didn't get met and you're just sitting there with this open order, you see it, you can usually see it on the lines that haven't been picked up right. You might want to cancel that order very quickly and then reassess what you want to do. If you push flatten, you're out of any and all positions if you have more than one position. Okay, and then this is buy the bid. Okay, so buying that price and selling the ask, selling at that price, the best you could possibly get for your prices if you're willing to wait for it to hit those numbers. So this is fairly standard. Now you can change how these numbers are set up inside. Let me show you how to do that. So what I've done here is I've opened this up again. This box is opened up. I have to make sure I don't click on account and show you all my account numbers. You have all these different things to choose from. Before we were on the look and feel that I showed you earlier, how to get that level 2 to look this way. But up here you have other things, and you might want to set these a certain way you want. I want my alerts on, notify me about my order fills. And this is how I have it set up. Other thing, you can set your email in here to confirm, but that's a lot of emails. And then you have the order fault marked, the market and the mark, and then you have the orders. I already actually just changed this to 100. It was 50 a minute ago, but this is where I was going to show you how to change your order defaults on that area right up here on the active trader. So let's say we wanted to do that even more. Let's say we want to do that to 200. So I'm going to change them both to 200, and then I'm going to apply down here, apply, and now those are 200. Now I have to reopen up that box. I had to reopen it up off screen because it comes right back to my account. And then I like to keep this at 50. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to actually type in. It didn't have a 50 here, but I'll type in 50 for there. And that's how I like to do it. But you guys might want them higher. I find that that's very high. It's high enough to do that. But let's go over some of the other things. So I'm going to go off again for just a split second. So I'll apply. Now I've reopened it back up again. So there's a lot on hotkeys here. I have mine set up a certain way for ThinkorSwim. ThinkorSwim isn't the best platform, in my opinion, to use hotkeys. If you are going to use hotkeys, like I do on another platform I trade on is Lightspeed, I always try to set them so that they're I can keep my wrists resting down on the desk, and just two fingers are pushing the keys on the right and the left, and I'm not lifting my hands up every single time, because if you're doing that, hundreds of times a day, you're going to get injuries to your hands and tendons and things over time. So just a little trick I've learned: when you use hotkeys, make sure your hands are just literally resting and you're just moving a couple fingers, and usually you can do that. That's why I always have the thumb on the control button, the CTRL key, and it's pressing down all the time. So it's active. Then my other finger can just click. So this thumb's pressing down all the time. This just moves buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, And then the other way I have it on the right side. That's the left side. The other way is, it's actually buy on my left and sell on my right. But anyway, so you want to figure out what's best for you. There's my profile. You can name yourself. I'm the professor. Order defaults. We just kind of went over that. Notifications. We kind of talked about that. And then the general here is all the different. Now, these are the ways that I have them set up. So let's go ahead and get to some very, very important things. You can change all of this stuff. I won't go into detail. That's where I recommend you go to the help videos. Okay. But when we get down here, there's a couple of things. This real time, no delay is extremely important to be set at. Real time, no delay. Remember that. Okay, guys. And then your security, I lock out after 8 hours because I'll walk away a lot. I always have, you can have it the last application that, it always starts up at the last one you had up. That's the easiest to do. And then we talked about the look and feel. You can change your font size, your spacing. You can do all kinds of things that specifically that you like. Then this is the way I have this all set up, so it depends on how you want to do any of that. And then I'm just going to show you every screen so you can see. So this is analyzing the data and recalculation. You don't necessarily have to have that in a split second. In fact, it could slow down your computer, so be careful on a couple of these things. Again, go to for their help too. And of course, you have all kinds of different languages. Well, at least 3 anyway. And there you go. And that's how you can do the application settings. So that's important to have this set up just the way you want it. And you may want these buttons in a different area. And then once you've got this set up here, it's out of your way. You just hit that arrow and then you don't have to look at that. Now, when we go into here, this can be customized as well. and all the different things you can add. I actually take away stuff. I take away the day buy and sell, and I put the price up here. This is how I like to do it. It's very simple boxes, so I can see each number as it happens live. These will light up as you have a trade, depending on what it is, where your position is and stuff. And that's really important. And I usually just keep it closed till it's like right like that. And then I make sure that this is spread in a way where that doesn't compact that. So these, you just left click and drag once the arrows are over it. And this is what's so great about a flexible grid, is that you can move these things all around. And I can see right here, I forgot something. So let's put back on the customizable grid, and let's get rid of all these sidebars because I don't need them anymore, because these are all going to stay charts. So now I can get rid of the flexible grid again. And one of the most important things to do next that I do, right, is I set tools on my charts. So if we go over to the gear wheel here, which we can find on this chart here, say, so I go into this gear wheel right here, right? And this says chart settings. So there's all these things you can do on your chart. Again, I won't go into every single thing. Usually the setup is going to be adequate for you, but you can see all the things you can do here. The time access, this is how much space is before the end of your screen. You know, how many bars back it is, so you don't want it to go off the screen, your price action. And there's a lot of other things here that you might want to mess around with. Your appearance we're going to get into in a minute. Equities, what you want to show. I'm going to take off this volume subgraph. Well, actually, I won't for now. I'll leave that on. Options, futures, Forex, all that. So general, let's go down here to my tools. They're off. So I want my tools on each chart. So that's the big change I'm making right now, that you saw these kind of all light up here. And then you can lock them on your charts by doing this. And then we're going to change the tools. You can put whatever you want. Now they're all locked. Once I change one, they'll all change to that same thing. So right over here to the right, I can open this up and change my tools. So here I'm going to have a pointer or a pan button. So the drawing tools, I'll put a pan right there. Here I want to use a price. So another drawing tool, I'm going to use the price level. Okay. The next one, I'm going to do a Fibonacci level. Don't get too worried about what I'm doing if it's confusing you. Fibonacci retracements. All right, and then we're going to add a button, so you know how to do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a rectangle. Okay, and then I'm going to add a button, and I'm going to go ahead and do a trend line. Now, I can't see ever needing more than what I just put up here for whatever I would mark, but it's on every chart now. Now, if you left click right here, you can expand your chart. See, I left click, maximum. Now I've made that chart. And then the reason I did that is just so you can see, like, if you had a pan tool, right, you can go left to right. It was at the end, that's why I wouldn't go to the right. But you can go left to right. You can't really go up and down. This pan tool is going to go left to right like this, right? But if you push the control button, right, and you hold it down, you can do this with the pan over here, right? If you don't hold it down, the control button, you can do this and make your candles larger or smaller, right? And then if you hold it down, you move the whole chart. And then these can move it from left to right. Another thing you can do is you can use, a lot of people use a pointer, but this works just the same. I clicked on price level. See how I have a little pencil here? If I left click and drag, I can expand those candlesticks to be anywhere I want. You see how I just moved it up and down here? And then if I go back to pan, I can move them around. And it's a little bit different than Trader View. A lot of people use. I actually like it better, but maybe that's because I've just used it so much. But that's how you basically work the chart up and down. You can also drag this lower bar different ways, because you might have more things on your chart, and you're opening up your chart here. You can have all kinds of studies, and we're going to get into a little bit of that in a minute, how you apply them and add them. But for the basic movements of the charts, that's how it works. And if you right-click, this opens up, and you can go auto zoom, and it takes you back too far away on your chart. So those are basically real quick. Now I have videos that are just about how to do charts, but that's just the basic how to do them and how to put your tools on here and how to use them. All right, I'm back. And I think I have the same hat. I'm not sure, but I definitely have a different shirt because we are now a little bit further along. So let's move into the look and feel of these charts so you can get a idea of how we do that. So we'll go to this gear wheel here, go into the appearance. We're going to want to fill up these candlesticks. Now the borders are already marked green and red, so I marked those green and red, and then the cursor will keep white. We're going to get the volume bars to be colored down here. We're going to do the background a dark black color. Okay, and then I'm going to get rid of the grid so we have it nice and clean. And that's the way I like it. I apply that, and you've got this cleaner look, in my opinion. Also, we want to go in and get rid of these the dates here, the year dates. I don't really want those. So we go over to the, is that under appearance? No. Where is it? Time axis. So yeah, so we can get rid of these expiration Fridays. You might want corporate actions. We'll put those on for now so you can see if they're going to have earnings, things like that. So those are a little helpful when you're trading. Now we've got a really nice, clean look for the chart. And we would probably want to go into, next would go into our time frame so we can actually talk about what we're doing here. So now on this chart, we talked about how to move it. You can see how I'm panning it around. And then now we're going to talk about the candlesticks. So the candlesticks are basically what you see here. They're representing the 1 minute. Each one of these is a 1 minute. I just switched it to a 1 minute. When it was on the D for day, each one represented an entire day, right? And then this volume is representing how much volume it moved. Now you can't really see. Let me move my picture up just a little bit here so you can see on the volume here what I was talking about. So these represent the volume right here. How high is the volume? Now I'm going to show you one indicator on here that I think is a must, but I won't get into custom indicators besides that, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I really want to just show you, you can see as we got into post-market how the volume just dropped off to practically nothing down here. So again, this moves the same way the chart moves, the volume bar, but you may want to like make it much bigger to represent you know, how it was. It just got really strong there right at the close. So that's why that went off the rail there, kind of. So you can do all kinds of things, moving that bar up and down, like I said. So now this is showing the price that these moved at, the overall price. That's what shapes this. So the price that the stock is moving up and down on the ask and the bid, the overall price, this candle is going to reflect it. It's going to move in real time as the price moves. So you might get spikes higher, but you have an opening of a candle at the bottom of a green candle, and then a close at the top of a green candle. If it's a red candle, it's opening here and went down and closed there. So it turned red because it was downward spike. And then you want to get into reading your patterns. This is just showing you how to do a setup, but that's like a rickshaw man or a doji when it has these long spikes on either side and then thicker in the middle, wicks. People would call those wicks, spikes. But anyway, so that's how the candles are reflecting the price, and then the different patterns that they have. You can get into reading those on Day Trading Volume 2, the Candlestick Pattern Playbook. That's the one I like because it's the only one that rates them. But I have a link to all this stuff if you're interested. It helps the channel. But that's basically what you're looking for, how these how you read these on your charts. So let's move on now. So before I go into the studies that we're going to add to the chart in just a minute, this beaker is the study beaker. I just wanted to point out what was up here across the top. So as I hover over a candlestick, you'll see that those will change. But basically you have the date, the time. The O means the opening of a candle. I'm over this candle right now. So that's the opening. Okay, that's its high, its wick high right? That's its low. Now I'm moving candles as I'm pointing, but that's its low. That's its close. Okay, that's its range, and this is the yield, meaning it's showing the price that I'm on right now. So, you know, you can see like how that yield changes up there as I do that. You can see that the opening, if you look at the price right there, this is the opening of a green candle down there. If you look, the price off to the right is 159. Am I blocking it with my picture? No, I'm going to move my picture back down, but 159.07. Right, you can see that it pretty much shows that at the opening up there. And then if you say the close, you can see that the close is 159.25. So you can see I just mimicked what it was reading up here by moving across the candle. Now, knowing, you know, seeing how those candles move when you're trading is really important. So besides the pattern book, you're looking at the liquidity and how they move, particularly if you're trading a 1 minute candle. It becomes pretty important to understand as you learn a little bit more, but we're going to go right into today. We're just going right into understanding, you know, how to set up a layout here. So double click up on this blue line. You can minimize it here, right, and say restore cells, or you just double click here. It's quicker, and that closes that right back down. So now we're right back to where we were, and I'm going to want to make this a day chart again. So, oops, let's go to day right here. 1 year, 1 day for now, because this is the original setup. So we've got 1 minute, 1 day. This needs, I want to make this a 15-minute chart. So we'll do a 15-minute, and I'm going to go ahead and make that 15-minute 10 days. Okay, and say okay. And then we're going to do this 5 minute, I think is already at 2 days. Yes, okay, so 2 days, 5 minutes. So we already did that. So this is how I would do the chart layout, but I'm going to change what's inside the studies of these charts a lot. But this is how I would typically trade. I might make this a little higher up into here. I might close this 5 minute 2 day because I just use it to set up the strategy. I want one big chart is all I need. So you can see I can just drag these down. That's why the customizable grid is so good. You probably don't even need the volume that high. Now I've got a nice big 5 minute chart to read here, right? And you can adjust it here. And then again, like I said, I'm just using my mouse, left clicking and holding down and moving those around. And then if I want to expand, I just left click and drag an area and it expands. See? So, we want to change all the look and feels of all these different charts. So let's go ahead and do that now. You know, I think what I'm going to show you is something that's kind of that's very, very helpful. Once you put in a chart study right here, so say this is our chart study. So what you can do now is you can save this. So you can save this style. So I'm going to say, and you want to include any patterns. I don't have any now, but let's just call this test 1 minute. And we're going to go find it again. So save test 1 minute. Okay. So now let's go over to this chart, which is, it doesn't, I have to open this up so I can get to the little two candlesticks here that say style. And now we can open this up and say load style. So there should be the test 1 minute here. Let me find it under T, load style. Yeah, there it is at the bottom. See it down there? I have another one there too. I guess I've done this a few times. So test 1 minute. Now it changed all that look and feel, but it changed it to the 1 minute. So I'd want to make it back to the 5 minute, or what I already have here is load style. I have a 5 minute here. So it says there's the 5 minute 10 day. I already have it. Nice and clean, it says, right? Saved it. So I go back, and now I've got my 5 minute 10 day set up. So once you do it once, you can go around and continue to do it. Now I don't like the fact that the year's on there, so it put that year back on. So let's get that year off and expiration off, and we'll put corporate actions on because we lost those but we didn't have them on that chart. So now this chart is set up so much quicker because I didn't have to go into the appearance, and we can do that on all the charts, right? So the 15-minute here, let's take a look. I already did it there, right? No, I didn't. So let's take the 15-minute, and we're going to go to where I save those candlesticks to look that way, and I'll just go to 15-minute, and now the candlesticks are back. So I don't have to do all that on every chart. And we'll go ahead and do it down here in the 5-minute 2-day. So let's go ahead and do that. So this down here is a 5-minute 2-day that I've saved. So we'll go over here to a 5-minute 2-day, which is, why can't I, there it is, clean. I call it clean because it doesn't have any studies on it. It just has the look, the nice clean look of the candlesticks. So now everything's set up here except, well, the day is set up too, and that's more important for the earnings, is on the day, because you want to know if a stock's about to have some corporate action that might affect the trading for that particular day. But that's basically a quicker way to set up all these candlestick things. Now we're ready to get into some studies. Okay, I moved my picture back, and I pulled the mic back a little. I think I was having some reverberation there. But so let's talk about the studies. We're going to do the 1-minute chart is the most important for trading, for scalping, the way I'm going to show you. Now, some people use 2-minute charts. Some people trade on 5-minute charts. It's actually fairly well known that the higher the time increment will have more traders, like a 5-minute people trade more on a 5-minute time increment than a 1 or 2 or 3-minute time increment. At least that's the way it currently is. And then more people trade on a 10 or 15-minute increment than a 5-minute, and a 30-minute and more than a 15-minute, and a 1 hour more than a 30-minute, and a 4 hour more than a 1 hour. So it's said. I mean, nobody has real solid data on that. Scalping's becoming more prevalent, used more over 8 million retail traders, and with the about to be a change when this is being filmed, they haven't dropped the PDT down to 2,000 yet, but I think they're about to, and that's going to make things crazy for retail traders. And I think you're going to see a lot more 1 and 2-minute chart traders, but we'll see how that goes. I prefer to trade on a 1-minute. If you watched any of my things, to me, after a while, it seems so slow that I can't even imagine trading on a 5-minute chart. I look at that as almost like a swing trade because it's so it's all perspective, right? But let's go into the studies here on a 1-minute. Now, when we go into a 1-minute chart, we're going to want to see what is our average, how is this stock moving over time. And they figured, like, if it goes in 9 candles, what's its average that it's moved over 9 candles? In 20 candles, what's its average? Has it moved over 20 candles? So you're trying to find, like if you count 20 candles, 20 minutes on a 1-minute chart, does it have an average level across? I mean, like, if I were just to make a level and I just eyeballed it, you'd probably say that out of this little block, that's kind of the average price, maybe a little higher. But you don't want to do that. You need to know exactly what is the average price over certain time increments. So they call that the exponential moving average. And a lot of traders use the 9, the 14, and the 20. I will set those up for you so you can see. And then, actually, I'm going to set up the 9 and I'll set up the 9, the 14, and the 20. It's interesting. ChatGPT says that the 14 is the most commonly used. I don't know anybody who uses it, but I'll set it up for you today. So I use the 9 and the 20, right? And then we'll put in the VWAP, and then also daily moving average. Like when you go to a day chart down here, and you're looking at big moves, because so many people just trade off a day chart. You have all your big institutions and things that will as well. And you want to know what is the 50-day moving average and the 100-day moving average and the 200-day moving average. You want to know because they'll do crossovers, the golden cross they call it, and that's a time to buy. Like if we were to set them up right here, you'll probably see some of that action. So why don't we do that first on the day chart for you guys so you can see. Let's go ahead and I'll type. So this is how you open your studies, that beaker. I'll type in SMA, And this is the daily SMA. So we're going to move those in, right? And I'm going to add 3 of them. So I push add, add, add. There's 3 of them. Now their default is the 9 moving average. Gee, wonder why so many people use the 9. And now we're going to move this to a 50. So the 50 moving average is very common for a day. And I'm going to show you how I set that up. You can do it, the colors down there where it said more. You can change the colors to something more that you like when you open them up. See how it had more down there? So I like that dark blue. And I'm going to say, okay, the line, you can change the line width here. You can change the style here if you want to do a different type of the way it looks, right? And I don't know why that actually didn't open, but what do we do? Oh, you change the thickness of the line. Let's make it a little thicker on the day chart and say, okay, now let's do, so now that changed to 50 up there. So open the gear wheel. I'll make 100. That's the next one that's very well recognized, 100 moving average. I usually make my hundreds yellow. So I'll say okay, and then I'll make this the 200. Now those are the 3 most commonly used simple moving averages, SMAs. I usually make mine orange. And there they are. So now when I say apply, they're going to come up on this chart. Say okay. So you can see, and there's an entire book about when this 50 moving average passes the 200 moving average, buy. So it happened right here. And although it did go down, generally the longer move was to buy. That's a strategy. A lot of people do that. Or when it breaks it down, which it did over here, you would say you should sell. Actually, never was above it here, but it broke over the 100. Some people only do it, not only, but they'll do it on the 100. You can see how it broke the 100 and signify that, hey, there's a trend going down. And if had they played that long over a series of days, they would have made a lot of money. And that's a longer term style of trading. If you can, stand the watching it go up and down, then that's good. I like scalping. I do both, actually. I have many trades that follow this strategy, so I should be careful. So when they're not crossing, I mean, this is still sort of saying go up, but it's starting to consolidate here, so I don't want to break into too much. But that's how you might set up a day chart, right? Now, on a 1-minute chart, we can do exactly the same thing, right? Now, what would we do on a 1-minute chart? You would have the EMAs, right? Now, you would have exponential moving average, but you'd also want the day ones that are marked for a day, because if you come across them, one that is signifying the averages on day, not on 1 minute. Whenever you put your averages on a chart time increment, they're going to show that time increment average only. They're not going to show you what's the average on a 5-minute chart if you have it on a 1-minute chart. They're going to show you what is the average of 1-minute candles over that time period that you pick. Where I suggest going outside the box on that is putting day moving averages on whatever chart you're going to trade. If you're trading on a 5-minute chart, it's really good practice to put whole day moving averages, because when you come to those day moving averages, you know that a lot of big players are watching those numbers, and they're usually a sign of support or resistance on your short-term trades. So I would add some SMAs, simple moving averages, that don't smooth things out. They're just going to give you the actual mathematical average for 50 candles. They take all the highs and lows. This is your average. Your estimated moving average, your exponential moving average, is estimating what is about to happen by what's just happened over the last 9 or 14 or 20 candles. So there's the difference between the two. You can read up on that, ask ChatGPT, lots of data available on that. Since you saw how I did that, I mean, when you go into the studies, if you just type in VWAP, sorry, I thought I wasn't recording for a second. So VWAP's going to come up right there, and you could move that over here and apply that too. Say okay, apply. So did the VWAP go on there? On a 1 minute. what did I just do there? I lost track of what I was doing, guys. Yeah, so the VWAP's already on here, and we have the 9 and the 20 moving averages and the VWAP. So they're already all on here, and I don't see the VWAP though. So that's why I'm confused, is why I don't see the VWAP on this chart. So something's throwing me off here. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, I figured out that snafu. I had this setting up here on today and not one day. And sometimes, especially on the weekend or if there's no live action, it snafus the chart a bit. So as we reopen this back up, you can see the studies are in here. So right now they're all on default. So you would type in EXP to get your moving average exponential here. So, you know, and then you just click here and then you can add as many as you want, right? And then here you can X away what you don't want. And then you change the colors, like I said, and you type in, like I said, to do whatever you want to do here. But I happen to have these preloaded, so we'll make the video shorter. And you would put in your SMAs here, and you would just make sure that they do say daily on here. So this is daily SMA. So we're going to want to add those over here as well. But let's see what the preloaded one I've done to see if it handles it. So it's going to get rid of these. I'm surprised those are still up there because I X'd them out. Oh, I didn't apply. X, maybe apply. Okay, so now they're gone. Right, let's get rid of the customizable grid because I actually deleted the chart and made a new chart because I was having trouble. So now let's go ahead and go into the style that I want. So down here, I had created a style just for this video, basic 1 minute with the EMA, SMA, and VWAP. And it will change this volume down here as well to the volume indicator that I use, which is the only custom thing I'm going to show you today. And I do have a link to it. You can just keep it the regular volume here if you want. I think it is the best indicator that is available anywhere. And there's lots of places you can get it. I like the $1 Million Margin Club, and it helps the channel if you get it through that link. All right, so let's see. Boom. And there we have it. And just to show you a little bit, this is kind of the older style of this that was preloaded a while ago. So I'm going to bring the newer style that you can get in just a minute. But let's just look at the overall chart here. So these are the way that it averages out the price, and you have crossovers, and you can see the VWAP is sort of giving you a general price of what it's worth. It doesn't move with the candlesticks on a 1 minute, right? So you've got the 9, the 14, and the 20, and then that's the VWAP, which at any given time is supposed to be the value of the stock. And then what's great about this indicator is these are you just saw the volume columns before, but this actually shows you how many sellers are in that volume. So if you follow that straight up, you can see it was straight down with a lot of strength, and it gave the percentage. Right now, this percentage is going to tell you what the last candle was, so it would be better if we went over here and we got to the last candle, because then this will be more accurate. It stopped just before the this is what I'm trying to do here. This stopped just before the market post-market here. So you can see, all sellers real strong, and then the buyers are here too. And then it shows you the percentage. So it was just 100% sellers before it closed. But since we're on this, let's go ahead and go over here. When you go into studies, here they all are. Now, I'm a coder, and I code for Charles Schwab, ThinkorSwim, and I code for prop firms, and I have a lot of it. And that's one of the main things I do besides quarterback and call trades for other companies and for my own channel that I have here with a whole group of traders. So I have ones that are under DTS, Day Trading for Success, tons of customs, but I know that the one I want is over at the $1 Million Margin Club, so MMC, and we're going to go down to the one that is called it's not the Power of the Force. They have some funny ones up here too, but Pro meter. Okay, so ones with less alerts or one alert. You'd want ones with alerts. I trade live, so sometimes the alerts can interfere with people when they have me on. So I'm going to move that over, add selected. I'll get rid of the other one, and then this is going to give you a better look at what auto zoom out, what that I don't know why it's not showing up here. Technical difficulties. What's going on here, guys? Sometimes it takes a second to pop in since we're not trading. It's not what we call exciting itself here, so it's not coming on. So that's the bad way to show anything here. But hopefully it'll come on in a second. Let me just close it here. Wow, it's just definitely not coming on. Having a lot of technical difficulties today. Obviously, we're not edited. Let me try again. MMC. You basically saw how it worked. I just want to make sure. I'm going to make this layout available for you. You won't get the indicator for free, but at least it will be set up how I would trade it. Here it is up here. Let me put on the one with Scalp Pro Meter. I'll put on the one with less alerts just in case there's some weird glitch on that other one, and apply. It's just not coming up. Man, it's one thing after another. I don't get it. Anyway, that's the one I use, but it usually shows up. Let's move on. So, is it because, did this get picked to today? Oh, it got picked on today again. So it changed because I brought it over. So I trade on a today time frame rather than 1 day. That's what the problem was. Oh my God, you think I would have learned the first time. So you saw me change the time frame there. Now the reason I do that is you can see the day moving averages here, by the way. There's the 100 and the 50. That's why it's so important to have them on the 1 minute chart. Boy, you would look at those like that is a serious resistance or support area. If you come to them, you know, you'd want to know where those are. If we go back, let's go back, just experiment. Let's go back like 5 days on the 1 minute chart and see what we get shown here. Yeah, so it's just there you go. Here's an exact example of what I was talking about. That's the 50-day moving average. Do you see how it hit there and abruptly turned around? That's why you want to know these levels. This wasn't a setup, by the way. I had no idea what it would do, what it was going to show. But I mean, that's an example of why having the SMA days on there. Okay, you can set up your chart, your things any way you want, but I just wanted to make sure I brought up to you how invaluable that type of thing is. I'm go to 1 day. How valuable, invaluable, how valuable that is. So now if you go into the studies, you can see we have the 9, the 14, the 20, the 50 day, the 100 day. There's the 200 day. You can drag these, right, and move them around. And then you have the Scalp Pro Meter, or you could just have a regular volume with the VWAP right below that. So there's how I set up a 1 minute. Now you can do that now you'd want to save that. I have that saved right here, right? Now, if I was going to open up a 5 minute over here and I wanted to do something different, I've saved a bunch of styles, you know, on the 5 minute. So right now they're just clean, but a lot of people want the MACD. So there's a lot of things for the MACD. A lot of people want the MACD and the ADX. These are getting into some custom scripts, but I don't think that one is. I think that's just the MACD and that's a custom. This one isn't though. I'm not trying to make this a giant commercial for custom scripts, but there's the histogram that you could get your MACD set up for on your 5 minute chart. And there's all kinds of things ways to read that you might want to look at. And anyway, once you've saved these, you know, then you can just build a new layout really, really quickly. And I'll put in, I'll keep this on the one that I'm going to make available with a link to get this. Then you can, you know, there's videos on how to read this. On the 15 minute, I really don't put the levels. I use custom scripts, so watch some of my videos. On the 5 minutes, I use custom scripts, and I have a lot of custom scripts. On the day here, we're going to open this up. I will usually put the ATR, so we'll get rid of this volume down there on the day. I have no reason I would ever want volume messing up a day chart for me. I do like having the corporate actions, and then I would go in here and we would do an ATR, which is so important. You want the ATR, which is the average true range over a 14-day period. Let's get that in there for Wilders. You could see it here, and I'll tell you, if I go over a candlestick, it's going to tell you on that day, this is every one of these is a day now, remember, it's going to tell you that that range is $6.88. Now, you can set those you need to know the range of a stock before you trade it, guys. I'm going a little deeper here, but I'm explaining why you want to set up some of these things on your layout and why I'll have them here for you if you just want to take this layout. But now you know how to build it. You know, I'm showing you the different ways to build it. But you need to know the range of a stock so that when you're trading it every day, like, hey, that's the high of its range, that's the low of the range. If you read like Day Trading Volume 1, which I recommend, which is the first book that really has a strategy to trade large cap and mega cap stocks, that shows you the half range, how to do a strategy with the half range and the Fibonacci levels. I'm not going to go into a lot of detailed analysis here, but I recommend watching videos about that. I will show you one thing just so you can see how to use it on a chart. Let me auto zoom. All right, so I'll show you Fibonacci levels. So if you look at the high and you look at the low, you're trying to get support and resistance. Now, there's a lot of ways to read Fibonacci levels and to lay out Fibonacci levels. Most of the pro traders that I trade with, they're using the Fibonacci levels as support and resistance, and I'll show you what I mean by levels. It's going to open up to levels with you doing very little work. You're just looking for the high and the low, or the low and the high. It doesn't matter if the high was here and the low was here. You always put it left or right. So you don't have to think about, oh, I should mark the high and go backwards. No, you go left to right. So you click on, which I was astutely put on the chart. Now you see my little pencil. I'm going to look for this price. I look at it over here, right? So 149.58, and I'm going to try to get it right on there with the sensitivity of this. Oops, there it was. So I left click once. Now I'm just dragging. I've taken my thumb off the mouse, my finger off the mouse, and now I'm going over to 165.10, which is, again, I've got to adjust. Now, for some reason, you saw them all open. If you right click that, right, you could adjust those prices if you have trouble clicking it. You can change the color. You can do all kinds of things. But what this did is it gave you support and resistance levels here. So we look at the day that we're trading, and you see how closely that respected, how closely it hit off here. And we marked those way back here, right? But yet look at these. This is why people mark them out. And then the strategy that I trade, I do it again even tighter. I do it on a 2-day as well. So we'll just see, so you can just see how this works out. So that's 78. That's close enough. 82, and then 11. That's close enough. So I'll make that a different color. I'm worried about how long this video's. Edit properties. We'll make that kind of a chartreuse type color and put that there. Now let's see how that tightened up, so now we've made even tighter channels to call areas that the yellow lines didn't on the 10-day. The 2-day picked up closer action. But if you're trading on a 1-minute chart, let's go back to 1 day. It is on 1 day. Okay, so let's auto zoom, and actually, you can tell where the price action is. But let's look at this whole day. Like, how did it pan out on the last day of trading here? It looks like a big mess. That's why you've got to kind of zoom in, and then it's not such a big mess. So you can see it created a channel here, long, short, right? Then it broke it out, tested it, short, right? Bam, said long, short, retested. It's just giving you other. Now you want to look at other data, but you see me talk about this almost every morning, how you use historical data, which is the Fibonacci levels, and that's why I have it up here. Now you can use the rectangle too, where you click and then you left click and then you drag an area if you want to zoom in an area, and then left click again, and that's like an area you're going to mark areas that you might want to do that way. The trend line You remove that drawing when you're done. The trend line, if you're marking trends, which you usually don't on a 1 minute chart, but you click at a bottom and then you left click. Now you're dragging up to see how many of these candlesticks as they came down you can touch, and you can see it respected that level, respected it, and then came down and respected it again. And then we're going to zoom over here, and you can see that, you actually could have used this. If you marked it just off of that, you could see how even on a 1 minute chart, a trend line can come in extremely handy. So you've seen me use all three of these now, and the price level and the pan. And those are pretty much all I use on a chart, so it's pretty helpful. Now, this isn't telling you everything about everything here, but it's a good start to set it up, and I'm going to make this layout available. So I changed my shirt again, guys, on this quick edit. I'm back on a different day if you're getting confused trying to get all this video done with all the stuff that's on the layout. So remember, I am making a free layout like I just mentioned at the end of the last little clip I did. So look for that under the more information. You'll see this layout free, a free link to that. I'm also putting in a free indicator right there, the one that I showed you on the day chart. So there'll be a link to get that free indicator as well. So, make sure you take advantage of that. And then, of course, any of the other stuff that I have links to that I believe in, if you get them through me, it helps the channel, so I'd really appreciate it. I don't sell courses or anything like that. But so we haven't completely finished with this layout, so let's go over a few more things. Let's talk about scanners for a minute. Now, I do a lot of custom coding for scanners, and you can find links to go over and get those as well if you want. But basically, this is how I have videos on how to build your own scanner. There's a lot of them. This is not going to be that. I'm just going to show you about where they are. What I want to show you is about how to do a watch list on here, not how to set up a scanner. But in this situation here, you can see, you can save a scanner, and then you'll see all the different scanners that I've done, known as the professor. And there's some specific ones that really help, like it has to move 20 cents in one direction or another in a 1 minute candle. It has to have that kind of volume going up and down, that kind of liquidity to scalp it. And I set that for to find large cap stocks, and now I'm setting it because of the new PDT rule coming into effect. I'm broadening that a bit to help traders out. But there's other, I have so many different ones. I have it for 15 cents too. And then I have, all kinds of different ones. So you should definitely watch some of the videos if you're interested, or watch me trade live in the morning. But let's just talk about, without building a whole scanner for you, I just wanted to show you one particular thing. So having a scanner that is really helpful. So I'm scanning right now to see what it shows up with this. I'm hoping that this is actually going to show something on it. Now I'm on a Sunday. It doesn't look like it's going to show anything here. So let me just get rid of this code, and maybe it'll show. There we go. All right, so that's custom code. So now when you already have this up, Intel moved because of all that news. So depending on how you have your settings, and that's pretty important on a scanner, you can set these scanners to do momentum. I have a lot of scanners that pick up the gap and go strategy that's traded by some of the big momentum traders, so you don't have to pay for a service. So look, don't start paying for a scanner service, guys. That's kind of scammy, because, no, that's the wrong word. Everybody can make their own money, obviously, and make their nut. But if you are a ThinkorSwim, if you're using ThinkorSwim and you have an account with Charles Schwab to do that, then you get all these advantages for free. This is a free platform, and it has a lot of cool stuff. And you can build all kinds of scanners. And if you don't know how to do it, watch one of my videos, or just pick up like $4.99 one-time payment scanners that I have links to that can pretty much find you any stock. And if you have the right stock, literally, it's such a small amount of money, because on your very first trade, you're going to make 10 times what it cost you to buy the scanner for all time. It's like so just something to think about, or build your own, right? Now, one thing I really wanted to show here, if you go to this burger, once you've built it, you can save it as a watch list. And that's what's so important, is saving it as a watch list. So I'm going to go ahead and press that, and we're just going to name it test scanner. I'll put test scanner 2 in case I've done that before, and save. Now we're going to be able to go find that over here. So let's go back to the chart. Now we haven't opened this little side panel right here to the left. So I'm going to open that up. Now it may look differently when you first open yours. I'm not sure. This is, all my account stuff is set on private. And if you do any kind of recording, you might want to do that. But most people just have it so they can read it. You can put all these different things here. So why don't we get rid of these? So if you just left click here on your box or open right there, is that where you open it? No, maybe it's right here. Why won't that open? Sorry, I'm trying to not detach. Delete gadget. Okay. And then delete gadget. Nope, I detached gadget. Delete gadget. Yeah, that's the other thing you can do is you can detach anything you want, move it around to other screens, blow it up and do all kinds of things. So now keep in mind every time you do that, it is opened up and it's reconciling its data, and that can slow your computer down. So you have to be careful. And you can set, you're building a watch list, you can set it, all these are set for the green. Remember we tied them into all be green, but they could be set for a different color if you want to watch different things, and you can detach them. And so it's really, really handy. So unless you have a very slow computer, you're going to be able to, you're going to be able to handle it. So now I've cleaned this up, right? So let's go down to this plus down here, and we're going to see all the different things. Now, if you don't want your trades to come up on the screen, right, you would end up pushing the message button, little glitch there, message center, and then as you take trades, it'll be hidden in this box. Otherwise, every trade will be popped across here, a sentence. And, most people don't like that. So, but yet you can keep track of when you go in, when you go out, how much money, everything would be kept there. Or anything else, like if you have indicators that are giving you alerts or anything, it's going to be on the message center. So it's a good idea to have a running record of that. So that's one that I usually have on mine. So I'll leave that up for you. Another one that's really good to use is Trader TV. Now, a lot of people don't even think about this because if you go, it has the Schwab network, which I have to push play here, and I think it probably will come up. Yeah, so this is going to be their news, but more likely in the morning when you want to use it, you want to go to CNBC, and then it's going to have their news of what's going on in the morning if you watch that, and then you can detach it, right, and then move it off to the side to another screen, and make it any size you want here. Right now, it's not giving you news, so that's why it's just sort of, the markets are closed. There's the message. But having this available, again, it will draw data from you, so memory. So be careful. It could possibly slow down, but this is definitely one that I have available, and I do listen to it until I start to live trade with everybody, because then it becomes too invasive to the process. But then more importantly, and you can do charts and things like that, and they have games, and you should definitely check this out. But I'm going to go right to a watch list. So let's go ahead and create a watch list. So you can do all kinds of, you can open a whole bunch of watch lists, but let's go ahead and open up what we just did and find it. So it's going to be in alphabetical order here. So, it was going to be a personal one. So an alphabetical order on a personal one. So it should be here, test 2. So I said test scanner 2. See, I've done this a bunch. So now that's the one that we were just looking at. Okay, now this does slide, a little bit more than it will not go any further. And then we can make that linked to everything on here. So then when I click Intel now, it's going to switch to Intel. This didn't for some reason. Oh, this is the wrong color here. All right, so let me close that. We're in a bit of a discovery here. Let's make that green. Okay. I'm not quite sure why that was blue. Everything else is green, right? Yes, okay. So now this, you can detach this and just, which I do often on another screen around me, and I can just pop right over and get any stock I want instantly changed. Right? So you can see it's giving alerts here. On a closed market, it said we exceeded the previous candle, which is interesting. That was interesting that it said that. But that's where it's locked at. Normally you would almost wait to see if that was on demand. It might do that. You can see I have this marked out. That's how you clear your drawing set. You can clear individual drawings. You can just clear the whole thing, and that's how I do that. And basically having that watch list really clicks around. Now the other way you can do it is on any chart or anywhere you are, you just, you can look and you can scan down and get the stocks, and then you would just click. Like if you want to go back to Tesla, it's just going to go right back to Tesla. That's another way to do it. But you kind of want to watch the watch list, and why I say that's important, and let's detach this gadget. Let me just close this. Pull this over. So, having this, you can set these columns for anything here. Like right over here, you can custom do the columns and add anything you want here, what you want to follow. What I've already done is I've already saved some of those columns. You can see them right here. So usually I want to have the close and the open and the price. I want to see if it's easy to borrow, hard to borrow. What is your ATR level? So I'm just going to put that on, and all that comes up. Right, so I know I can't go short on the hard to borrow. Well, you can. You have to make arrangements with the broker. So this isn't a how to trade tutorial, but now what I like to look at, why this is important, why I want the scanner detached, is I'll be walking. And this is going to show the spread too, but it's not. The market's not open. But I'm going to see the current price. I'm going to see how far it was from the open and the close, so I can get a quick assessment. Hey, is that moving up? Is it long bias, short bias? What's really happening here with these stocks? See, that's going down. So I might play that short bias, NVIDIA, thinking like since it opened, it's going down, depending on what time of day it is. So detaching these, if you have more than one screen, can be really helpful. You don't need to do it. I mean, you can, like I said, you can do it here. Then you can look at the stocks individually. I just find this as a very, very quick read. That it really helps me a lot. So that's how you would get to build your own scanner, how I showed you there. They have their own, remember, they have their own, read the help more and the education, but they have their own scanners here that are all pre-built that are not the personal ones or the public ones. You can see, I mean, they're going to really give you some information pretty quickly. So you may want to have a bunch of these. Now, everyone you have opened that you make into a watch list will take away memory. I'm just going to warn you that. But man, these are fun. You can have a lot of fun with these. So it's having the fun tools, in other words, to have available at your fingertips. And that's basically what that side panel. Like I said, there's so many things here that you could do. Some people play games when they're waiting for their trade to set up, or you can open some of these tools over there if you just want charts set up here. Or you can have what they have, quick charts where you have other charts set up and you can just detach them. So if we were to do a chart here, why don't I see chart here? Quick chart, yeah. So you can have a chart here, right? And you might want to make it a different color. And then you can quickly, if you just, I got to watch that. I'm going to keep them over here. They're all set up, but I don't want them on my screen yet, but I want to watch it. I want to pull it off to the side and watch it now. So I'm going to detach that quick chart and I can see the price action of that stock. So, just pull it over to my other screen, like off where you can't see it now. And, but I can, or like up above me, I have them up here too. I have 6 screens around. So you can kind of just, monitor other stocks without messing up your layout that you're using all the time. Some people will put them right on their layout. If you see a video, a lot of times you're going to see stuff that's just for the viewer that you might not ever in a million years want to take your chart room for, your platform space for, in other words. So that's something to keep in mind, guys. Okay, guys, so if you're still with me, I hope it was enjoyable. There's a couple more things that are pretty important. So this is the free indicator that I'm going to have a link to that you can just grab. And what's so cool about this one, I think I talked about it before, this is going to tell you the average volume. That's 1 day average volume. That's 10-day average volume on a 1 minute candle. Okay, so over the 10-day period, you were averaging around 281,000. On 1 day, 248,000. So Tesla, is very, very, has a lot of liquidity and very, very easy to get in and out of, and the price is going to change rapidly. And one of the reasons why it changes so much is your ATR. Let's look at your ATR rating down here, right? So if I go over any candle, really, and you look down at that ATR, it's $16.38. So that means every day it has the capability, on average, of moving $16 one direction or $16 the other direction. So that is a stock that you want to trade if you're day trading. Probably trade pretty low share size, because if it goes against you, suddenly it could be moving dollars against you rather than quarter dollars or 10 cents each candle. So but having this quickly finding stocks. Let's go to, say, NVIDIA, right? So NVIDIA that's got a lot too of volume. I was going to try to find one that didn't have quite as much volume. Let's look at AMD. So AMD is over 100,000, which still makes it tradable on average. So I look for over 100,000, and that's why I coded that, and that's what prop firms look for, and that's why I coded it for prop firms, and you get it for free. So just the link will be there for you. And then, of course, you get the entire layout for free too. Now, this will not have the custom indicators. You first have to download this indicator, then it will automatically populate in your layout if you load this first. It's not going to have this Scalp Pro. You'd have to go get that. All right. If you want just your regular volume, you would just go in here and you would make sure that you have your volume subgraphed on. And then that will be here as well. Let me just get this. It will be there only, the only thing that's there, which is the standard volume. So that's how you go back and set that up. So I will leave that on this layout like this, because if you don't have that, then it's going to populate correctly. Now, I don't usually have that on all the other charts, but if you're trading on that's not what I wanted to do. That's my tools. If you're trading on a 5 minute, you may want to have that too, to watch that volume. So I'll put that on for you too down here, just above the MACD. So you have it over here for this free layout that you're going to get. But it's really not going to do too much good for you on the 15 minute and the 5 minute. You're getting to the point where you're doing swing trading as you trade in higher time frames. That is a personal perspective. All right, so stick around just a second more, and I'm going to show you what a prop firm layout looks like. Before I go into the other layout, let me just be clear about where you can find the things that you're trying to find here. So if you look at my channel here and you open up one of the videos that you might be watching, like this is just the last one, then you'll see all these different links for all the different indicators and the best books I like and all these. Like I said, if you want to get any of this stuff, that going through me helps me out, and I'd appreciate it. But you're going to see up at the top free indicators. Now, I just put this indicator in the video that I put out just very, very recently, just so you could see what to do. So you don't click on it. That you won't get it that way, right? What you do is you highlight it. So highlight it and then copy, right? Now you have it on your clipboard, right? So let me get rid of this. Then you go up into the gear wheel here and you say open shared item, and you push Control V, and it's going to fill in, and then it's going to preview what this is. So this is I just named it the MMC average volume, this indicator down here. So you import, and now don't click on anything here, wait to that message to go away. Now it's going to be in your studies. So if we opened up, say, this 5 minute chart, I don't know why this is thing is saying edit here still. I don't know. I'll get rid of that in a minute. But in here under your studies, this beaker, right? Right now it only has the MACD. But if you look up MMC, you can name it anything you want, but there it is. That now you just left click that, you add selected, and now it will be over here, apply, and now it's on that chart. So That's how you import. And that is also the exact same way that you import the layout. You highlight it, right? You remember you're going to highlight. This doesn't actually have the layout here to show you because I haven't made it available yet. I'm still recording on it, but I haven't made the YouTube video available yet. But you'll see like this. This is the send you to the one that has all the prop firms to go purchase, but the one you have, the one that you're going to be looking for, it will say free layout, just like free indicator, and you copy the exact same process that I showed you to get that for free. So that's pretty important, because if you click, it's just going to say error, and then you're going to email me and say it doesn't work, or you're going to say something nasty. Which, because people that don't think just decide that it's a bad thing before they realize that they're not doing it right. So anyway, I try to make it as easy as I can for you guys. So stick around. This will be pretty interesting to see the next thing. And then the next thing that I'm showing you, if you wanted to get it in its entirety that's designed for a prop firm, you would do that same thing. You would actually, on these, you can click, because these take you to places that they sell. The other, you're just putting it directly into ThinkorSwim. There is a difference there. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the other layout. So you'll see here, and I will have a link at the end of this video if you want to see how each and every one of these custom indicators works. I also recommend that you go to the $1 Million Margin Club email. I'm not email, YouTube channel. I'm sorry, $1 Million Margin Club YouTube channel. And then they have a series called the Toolbox series, which is pretty handy. And it explains how each and every indicator works. So if you want to learn about indicators, that's a great way. It's called the Toolbox series at the $1 Million Margin Club. That's the best one I found for this. But you'll see that this looks ridiculously crowded if you don't know. This is designed for a prop firm, and I will not go into every indicator because that's another hour. But the idea behind it is it's like it basically tells you which way to go. Like this is a MACD crossover. It says go down, it went down, right? It says go down, it went down. It says go up, it went up. It says go down, it went down. Now these show you before the action happens. It's not like after it marks it. It's as it's happening. It's going to light up like, hey, respect this move. And then there's other ways to read, like you see this blue in the middle here, and then this chartreuse color. That's called the magnet. It has a range. This is the buy-sell oscillator up here. I'm sorry, this is the risk oscillator up here, which will give you how much to go long, how much to go short, gives you the average of the last 9 candles. We are on a Sunday, so that's not working. Again, I'm starting to get into the details of it. But yeah, these are all very important things, giving you the whole breadth of the market. So if you were new to trading and you started with these types of indicators, and you might spend a little bit of money for them, probably in the first day you get your money back. The only thing you really need to learn is how to read the indicators. What are they telling you? That would be almost before you learn how to trade. You obviously want to know how to use, how to push the buttons and what you do. I mean, I should be careful. You want to learn everything, obviously, guys, but the indicators simplify things. So I just wanted to show you what a prop firm. Some people don't believe in them. They would rather just have it completely nothing, and they can trade by the seat of their pants. And other people want all the help they can get, So just depends on what camp you're in. I am an indicator-driven trader, and I use them, and you'll see me live stream. This is actually my live streaming layout that you see here, and you can see me trade this in the mornings. And as we're designing new scanners for the new PDT rule that's dropping down to 2,000, it's a pretty exciting time for trading. I think by the beginning of the year, this is the end of September. It's going to be a crazy market for retail traders, crazy easy way to make money. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of new millionaires. Make sure you get yourself set up to do it. Whomever you're following, whatever you're reading, get ready, because it's going to be a whole new world. It's going to be so exciting. There hasn't been this change in almost 25 years. And it's amazing. So I hope you guys can take advantage of it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Really be careful out there. Remember, make a day trading plan and follow it, which is the hardest thing for any trader. And hopefully I'll see you live streaming. It's free to come follow me. And you guys go green out there, okay? Thanks again for watching.